now ask the applicants to come in.
You go there. I'll go to the very front because that's what my place is.
Okay, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the subcommittee where we're going to hear the application for the variation to the premises Angels, which is Unit 3, Darlington House, 55 Little Clarendon Street. I am Mark Ligo, and I'm the chair. And subcommittee to my right, I have.
I'm Councillor Mary Clarkson, member of the committee tonight.
To my left.
And Councillor Simon Martino also on the committee tonight.
May I ask everyone else to introduce themselves and start from the legal advisor?
I'm Alison Daly. I'm the legal advisor advising the subcommittee this evening.
I'm Hannah Carmody Brown. I'm the clerk for this meeting.
I'm Joshua Kerno, the Supervising Senior Licensing Officer, and I'll introduce the reports this evening.
Right.
Could you introduce yourself, please?
Right. Well,
Just who you are. Sorry.
Yes, I'm Professor Richard Mayhew of 9 Beaumont Buildings, Oxford, and I'm representing the unanimous views of the Committee of the St John Street Area Residents Association. And I should say that despite our name, we actually represent an area from Gloucester Green to Jericho, from St Giles to Waltham Street. So this is very much our patch.
Thank you very much. Okay.
My name is Rob Ofer from Spirit Bar Limited.
I'm Craig Bayliss. I'm the solicitor representing Mr. Ofer this evening.
Thank you very much. So I'm just going to explain the process. So we as the subcommittee have read all the papers. So you do not need to repeat the points in these. The hearing takes place in the form of discussion. It will be led by myself as the chair. Each party will be asked to make their statement in turn. So members of the subcommittee and licensing authority may ask questions to clarify the evidence and any other issues. The subcommittee expects each party, including the objectors, collectively to take no more than 20 minutes to address it. Each party will have an opportunity to briefly then sum up. Then everyone, but the subcommittee's legal advisor and clerk will retire while the decision is being reached. Objectors and interested parties are counted collectively as one party to the hearing. Please do not talk across or interrupt other speakers, and please speak only when asked by the chair, which I'm sure you will. Okay, I'm going to hand over to the licensing officer to present their case. Josh.
Thank you, Chair. This licensing subcommittee hearing is convened to determine an application submitted by Spirit Bar Limited to vary the premises licence in respect of Angels at 55 Little Clarendon Street, Oxford. The applicant seeks to extend the hours for retail of alcohol and recorded music to 2 a.m. daily. Currently, it is midnight for Sunday to Tuesday and 1 a.m. Wednesday to Saturday. A copy of the application and the steps that the applicant intends to take to promote the licensing objectives can be found at Appendix 1. In order to assist all parties to the hearing, the existing premises for Angels can be found at Appendix 2. Thames Valley Police had initiated engagement with the applicant during the consultation period. The applicant and Thames Valley Police have agreed on a set of conditions that would be added to the licence under the operating schedule if granted. A copy of these agreed conditions can be found at Appendix 3. This application has attracted a representation from an interested party, which can be found at Appendix 4, and that highlights concerns in relation to how the application may fail to promote the licensing objective of the prevention of public nuisance. The subcommittee and all other parties at this hearing will note that a map detailing the applicant's premises and surrounding area is attached at Appendix 5. For clarity of all parties, I'll summarise what conditions on the licence are being proposed on this licence following that agreement with Thames Valley Police and the applicant. Beyond the mandatory conditions on a licence, the current licence has 10 conditions found at pages 35 and 36 of the agenda. And there are an additional 14 conditions proposed found at pages 39 to 43. The existing conditions will either be replicated as they already are, or where appropriate to do so, merged and replaced with the similar proposed conditions. Those existing conditions include CCTV compliance, CCTV covering the entrance, door supervisors, no leaving with any drinking vessels, no entry to under 18, a notice to the police of any extended hours, noise measured from 1 metre at any residential dwelling, a noise limiter, all doors and windows closed during regulated entertainment, and a dispersal policy. The proposed additional conditions, which there is some crossover, include staff training, notice to police for extended hours or events, maintaining a daily premises register, written policies, CCTV, membership of Pub Watch, usage of Radio Link, a proof of age verification, no entry within the last hour, and cleared and closed after 30 minutes of the last activity. The smoking area to be monitored, display of notices to be mindful of residents, body worn video, and again, no leaving with any drinking vessels. The subcommittee is reminded of its responsibilities under the Crime and Disorder Act 1998 and Human Rights Act when considering the fair balance between the interests of the applicants and the rights of local residents. Any decision taken by the subcommittee must be necessary and proportionate to the objectives being pursued. Members are reminded that whenever they make a decision under the Licensing Act 2003, they have a duty to act with a view to promote the licensing objectives. When considering any representations, only those issues relating to the 4 licensing objectives should be considered and appropriate weight given to the importance and relevance of each representation. In making its decision, the subcommittee must also have regard to the Home Office statutory guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act and the Council's own Statement of Licensing Policy. Details of these may be found within the body of the report. The subcommittee must take such of the following steps as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. A, to grant the license in accordance with the application. B, to modify the conditions of the operating schedule by altering or omitting or adding to them. C, excluding or restricting from the scope of the license any of the licensable activities to which the application relates. Or D, to reject the whole of the application. The subcommittee may also grant the license subject to different conditions for different parts of the premises or different licensable activities. Members should note that the applicant or persons making representations do have a right of appeal against any decision made this evening. Thank you, Chair.
Very much. Any questions from the subcommittee? Simon?
So can you just clarify, so open till 2, but licensed to sell alcohol till 2, and then the police saying half an hour to leave. So is it actually open till 2:30, or what is the situation?
So opening hours are at the discretion of the
Sorry, Josh, and Councillor Ratine, I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm going to apologise to Josh because what I should have while we were having a chat outside, I should have precursed the two applications tonight by saying that as part of the overall approach to these two applications, we're actually going to withdraw the application for Angels. And I've got something to say about how we're going to modify the application for Raoul. So sorry, Josh, you've had to go through the whole rigmarole, and sorry for Councillor Artino having to ask a question, but I should have prefaced all that before. But we are going to withdraw the Angels application, and when we get onto Raoul's, I'll tell you why and how we propose to deal with the Raoul's application. Does that make sense, Chair? I'm sorry.
It does. Ideally, we could have had this beforehand. Let's just pause for thought for a moment, and I'm just asking just to.
No.
I agree. If it could just be minuted that the committee hear and acknowledge the withdrawal of the application, then this matter can be dispensed of. Yep.
Yes, we're all in agreement. Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chair. Sorry. And perhaps now is an opportune moment for me to explain the position in relation to the approach to both applications before Josh.
No, they've got to be taken. Sorry.
Yeah. So we're going to take both applications separately.
Okay.
So in relation to Angels, you've withdrawn your application.
Angels is gone.
That's right. So what we will do is finish.
Carry
this
on with
aspect,
Raoul's
this
and then I
part
can
of
explain the
agenda.
position.
Yes,
Okay.
that's exactly it. But we're going to finish this one first of all and then come on to that in a moment. Thank you. Don't want to have the two conflated, if that's okay.
Okay, well, now that's been withdrawn, we'll now move on to the next part of the agenda, item 6, which is application for variation to premises licence at Raoul's Bar, 32 Walton Street, Oxford. I would now hand over to the licensing officer. Josh, all yours.
Apologies if some of this sounds similar. This licensing subcommittee hearing is convened to determine an application submitted by Spirit Bar Limited to vary a premises licence in respect of Raoul's, 32 Walton Street, Oxford. The applicant seeks to extend the hours for licensable activities until 2 a.m. daily, currently 1 a.m. Daily. A copy of the application and the steps that the applicant intends to take to promote the licensing objectives can be found at Appendix 1. In order to assist all parties to the hearing, the existing premises licence for Raoul's can be found at Appendix 2. Thames Valley Police initiated engagement with the applicant during the consultation period. The applicant and TVP have agreed on a set of conditions that would be added to the licence under the operating schedule if it is granted. A copy of those agreed conditions can be found at Appendix 3. A copy of the Public Health Oxfordshire comments can also be found at Appendix 4, but please note the Public Health requested withdrawal of their representation as their intention was for their comments to be more for general awareness rather than formal representation against the application. The application has attracted a representation from an interested party, which can be found at Appendix 5, and highlights concerns in relation to how the application may fail to promote the licensing objective of the prevention of public nuisance. The subcommittee and all other parties at this hearing will note that a map detailing the applicant's premises and the surrounding area is attached at Appendix 6. And for clarity, I will summarise what conditions on the licence are being proposed following the agreement between Thames Valley Police and the applicant. Beyond the mandatory conditions on this licence, it currently has 9 conditions found at page 75 of the full agenda pack. And there are additional 14 conditions proposed found at pages 80 to 84. The existing conditions will either be replicated as they are or, where appropriate to do so, merged or replaced with a similar proposed conditions. The original conditions include dispersal policy, age verification training, credible proof of age evidence, exits being available, venue capacity, noise measurements 1 metre from any residential building, noise to be inaudible in adjacent or adjoining properties, risk assessment based door staff and CCTV, whereas the proposed conditions cover staff training, notice to the police of extended hours or events, maintaining a daily premises register, written policies, CCTV, membership of Pub Watch, usage of Radio Link, proof of age verification, no entry within the last hour, cleared and closed after 30 minutes of last activity, smoking area to be monitored, display of notices to be mindful to residents, body worn video, and no leaving with any drinking vessels. The subcommittee is reminded of its responsibilities under the Crime and Disorder Act 1998 and the Human Rights Act when considering the fair balance between the interests of the applicant and the rights of the local residents. Any decision taken by the subcommittee must be necessary and proportionate to the objectives being pursued. Members are reminded that whenever they make a decision under the Licensing Act 2003, they have a duty to act with a view of promoting the licensing objectives. When considering any representations, only those issues relating to the 4 licensing objectives should be considered an appropriate weight given to the importance and relevance of each representation. In making its decision, the subcommittee must also have regard to the Home Office statutory guidance issued under Section 182 of the Licensing Act 2003 and the Council's own Statement of Licensing Policy. Details of these may be found within the body of the report. The subcommittee must take such of the following steps as it considers appropriate for the promotion of the licensing objectives. A, to grant the license in accordance with the application. B, to modify the conditions of the operating schedule by altering or omitting or adding to them. C, excluding or restricting from the scope of the license any of the licensable activities to which the application relates. Or D, reject the whole of the application. The subcommittee may also grant the license subject to different conditions for different parts of the premises or different licensable activities. Members should note that the applicant or persons making representations have a right of appeal against any decision made this evening. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. So we're just going to I'm going to offer it up to ask some questions. As you're well aware, you'll be presenting your case later on when I come to it as well, just for clarity. Mary, Simon, do you have any questions at this specific point?
Same question. So to clarify, the license till 2, and it says half an hour, so people will be leaving at 2:30.
So as to the actual operating of the business for the opening hours, you should direct that to the applicant when it comes to that, because we do not restrict the opening hours. We only restrict the licensable activity. For example, the sale of alcohol. So the time that we have on that license is when the alcohol must stops being sold, not when they have to kick people out. However, from that time, they've agreed 2 conditions. One, that they have to stop selling alcohol 1 hour before that point that it ends. Stop letting people into the premises. They can continue selling alcohol. Last entry, 1 hour before. And then after, once that time hits, then they have 30 minutes for everyone to finish their drinks and leave the premises so they can close.
No question. And so the usual question about the nearby premises, what are they licensed to?
So we jumped to Rail. And I think there are 2 premises of particular note nearby. There's the Oxford Wine Cafe across the road or down slightly. Their current license is until midnight for Friday and Saturday nights, or until 11 p.m. every other night of the week. And then Love Jericho is the closest premises, and that does have a license until 2 a.m. for Friday and Saturday night, and 1 a.m. every other night of the week.
Mary?
No.
No representations from authorities about noise or anything like that around this?
No. Thames Valley Police agreed conditions, and every other responsible authority either had no objection or, as with public health in this case, did submit a representation but then withdrew it, stating it was comments rather than objection. But no objections being asked from responsible authorities.
Any questions at this point? No. And no. Okay. I'll then ask the applicants to present their case, please.
Chair, thank you. And again, apologies to Josh and to the committee for not making our position clear. What I ought to do is give you a reason why we've adopted this strategy since the applications went in. These 2 premises are very close to each other, Angels and Rolls. They're within about 5 minutes walk. We saw the representations from the Residents Association. We appreciate their concerns. And so for that reason, we've decided not to apply for the 2 a.m. for Angels. And also, in addition, for the Rowells, we're going to withdraw the application in respect of Sunday hours only. So effectively, all we're seeking now is an additional hour Monday to Saturday. Sunday will stay exactly as it is. So we hope the committee accepts that's been done in a spirit of compromise and wanting to try to convince the committee that we are responsible operators and we take the concerns of residents into account. Chair, having said that, Mr. Ofer bought these premises September 24. They're quite well-established premises, I think. They're well known in the area. They've been going since, I think, the 70s or 80s, so they're well known. Mr. Ofer spent, economics are quite an important part of this application. We spent about just over £100,000 refurbishing, adding aircon when Mr. Ofer bought these premises. And ever since they've reopened, he's been operating at a loss of about 50,000 a year. We feel that adding the extra hour is going to give him the opportunity potentially to at least break even, if not to make some profit. But at the moment, we are a loss-making business and can't go on like this. In relation to the hours that we're seeking, we hope that we're adopting an appropriate compromise. We've agreed conditions with TVP, so there are no objections from them. In terms of the 2 a.m. opening, we had temporary event notices throughout the whole of December last year, and no objections from police to those, and no adverse comments or complaints from any local residents. So we have a track record of being able to operate until 2 without any difficulty at all. In relation to the letter of objection that came in from the St John Street Residents Association, there's a reference to a potentially open front of the bar. We don't recognise that. We don't have a bar that opens at the front, but if you wanted a condition which said that all doors and windows shall be kept, we now have aircon. So if you wanted a condition which said that all doors and windows be kept closed except for emergency access or egress, I'd be happy to offer that condition. And likewise, if you have concerns about people leaving the premises, you will see that the police have asked for us to clear the premises by half an hour after closing, half an hour after last alcohol, so everyone's out by 2:30, and we're happy to offer a dispersal policy condition if you want that too. So we'll develop a dispersal policy which will work in accordance with our staff and SIA door staff if there are any on. I don't want to spend too much more time dealing with the premises themselves because I think our track record speaks for itself. If there were objections or comments or complaints to the noise team, you'd have been told about them tonight. We have a good track record in that area. What I would want to remind the committee about are statutory guidance and the new national licensing policy framework that's been recently published by the central government. There's a new paragraph that's been added to statutory guidance in the last few months, paragraph 1.18, and I will quote it. When making licensing decisions, all licensing authorities should consider the need to promote growth and deliver economic benefits. I would say this application comes four square within that, given our troubled economic issues at the moment. And then as far as the national licensing policy framework is concerned, it's something, again, which you ought to be taking into account. Paragraph 5.1 talks about supporting growth, and it's important to consider each application individually. Paragraph 5.2 talks about licensing decisions being based on clear evidence. And in our submission, the evidence you have here is the evidence that we've had of the temporary event notices throughout December, open till 2, no difficulties at all. So on an evidence-based approach to this application, I would say we fall four square within the application being granted. Chair, thank you. That's all I think we need to say at this stage.
Thank you very much. Subcommittee, Mary, Simon?
Yeah.
Yes, Simon.
So the temporary event notices, were they just at the weekends and Fridays, or were they all through the week?
Yes, they were Fridays and Saturdays.
So I suppose my other question is that I would imagine that residents would be more anxious about Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday than they would be about the weekend, or be more. Yeah, that's the sort of question they are. So I suppose I'm wondering whether you have reflected on that and there's any possibility you could go sort of any further in trying to meet their anxieties.
We've reflected on that. I think what we're looking for is maximum flexibility. Just because we're given a 2 a.m. licence on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday doesn't mean we're going to use it. For example, Mr. Offer also operates Thirst Bar in Park End Street. He's closing it Mondays and Tuesdays at the moment because there's just no business. The hospitality industry is really taking a hammering at the moment. So all we're seeking at the moment is flexibility. It is highly likely that we will open on Fridays and Saturdays until 2, if you're minded to grant this, probably Thursdays as well. But just because we have the 2 a.m. doesn't mean that we're going to operate the rest of the week. It just obviates the need for us to apply for 10s for those evenings if we need to.
We're currently closed on we're currently closed on a Sunday and a Monday in Rouse. And as Craig was saying, we are actually open this evening in Thirst, but last night was our first Monday where we closed, and we're taking a long-term view just because of the economics of the cost in wages versus the product costs. And everyone knows the operating costs of our business with energy costs, etc. But ultimately, it's about customer, and there are less of them coming out because they are also, like us, having financial issues as well. So it's becoming we will see, I think, even in Oxford, less places. And I am old enough to remember drinking in Rouse as an 18-year-old 40 years ago. And I bought it from Matthew Davis, who I was going to go into business with. I mean, it's a very small community in Oxford. And he just said, look, Rob, I just can't emotionally deal with it anymore. I just can't lie in bed, worrying about, losing money all the time. And I said to him, that I would have a go. And I genuinely believe that it's a lovely area and it's a lovely bar and it's been there since 1979. But when people want to go out, has changed enormously. And that's all I'm trying to have the ability to be able to stay open if I want to. I'm not saying that I will do all the time. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mary?
Yeah, I just wondered if you could say something about the kind of, who your sort of regular clientele are, sort of describe sort of demographic.
We have a massive broad mixture. At weekends we have, I'm in my late 50s, but so they're quite young, but we have 40-year-olds, who have got babysitters. We do have students who come out, but less so than they used to because they're feeling the squeeze as well. I'm sure their parents are emailing them and telling them to behave themselves and spend their, less money and etc. So it rouses a really broad mixture of people. It's not just young, it's not just old, it's a very broad spectrum of people. But a lot of local people, a lot of people who do live in Jericho, who don't want to go into Oxford, into what they consider is the city centre. And conversely, we have businesses where people don't want to come the other way. They don't want to come out into the Jericho area. And that's one of the reasons I bought it, because I felt that there were enough different types of people within Oxford to want to go out in different areas.
Ali, anything from Josh? Licensing at this present point? No? Okay. Anything from the responsible authority? So we've got nothing from Thames Valley Police here. I'm then going to move straight on to interested parties. You've got up to 20 minutes. Hopefully you won't take that long. Hopefully we can wrap this up in 5, but the floor is yours.
Well, thank you. We're objecting to the extension to 2 o'clock every night, which in fact means, of course, later than 2 o'clock with 2:30, as we've heard. And also it seems a very easy opportunity to extend the hours for special occasions. And our concern essentially is that it's inappropriate for the area. And it's an area which I have known well since the age of 17. And I'd like to make some points about our community, about the impact of recent changes in drinking, and about the track record of Rouse. And then, so first of all, this particular area of Walton Street, close to Little Clarendon Street, is, as members of the committee will know, it's geographically separate from the city centre. There is a residential area which extends along St. John Street, but the rest of our area that we cover of housing flats, residential accommodation, local shops, and a very substantial student accommodation. Rouse is opposite Somerville student accommodation blocks. And so the great many people who live around that area and a great many more who close by who'll be affected by comings and goings. And so it's a well-established area and one that you'll know over the years has been prospering really as a community. Then there's the question of recent changes in drinking patterns. Late night spirits bars are very new in that particular area. There are now two, Rowell's, and there's another one next door but one with much the same hours. That's Love Jericho. And I was going to say there'd be three, but apparently not three. It's two in Walden Street, almost next to each other. They're very new and very different to the shops that have been there over the years and that we've known. And their current hours and those rows are really substantially later than all the established places for drinking around Jericho and that area, for the wine bar immediately opposite, as we've heard, and the local pubs. The closing hours are really much earlier. And then there's the, we see in the papers, there's the public concern of Oxfordshire Public Health and who expressing their concern. And if I just quote a sentence, they say that protecting urgent healthcare services is vital, and evidence shows that even modest extensions in late night alcohol sales increase the burden on emergency services like police, ambulance and A&E. So they're concerned about the growth of a late night drinking culture in this area of Oxford, which is not the city centre. And then I wanted to just comment on the police report and their introduction. They say this area of Oxford is a dynamic one and is increasingly becoming absorbed into the city centre's main nighttime economy hub. This means the police are now seeing a change in demand there. And so Oxfordshire Public Health and the police are concerned about an extension of late night drinking, not just in the city centre, but actually in this residential area a little way from the centre. And that's what we're concerned about too. We're concerned about the fact that late night drinking will mean that those who live around will be affected by comings and goings, by noise, disturbance, and however well run this bar may be, that this is a worrying change to our community. I also just wanted to comment on the track record of Rowell's, which has not been there for very long. In fact, they're asking for extension, though I think, according to the police stating, you've been there since September 24. So it's a very recent place, which is within that short time asking for another considerable extension into the night. And that seems too soon and inappropriate. We are concerned about noise in the summer, doors open and so on, which on the street there, immediately opposite Somerville College, surrounded by flats and housing. I'm also worryingly concerned that at the very time this application came in and the premises license was until 1 o'clock, Rouse was advertising in front that on Saturday evenings they were open to 2 o'clock. And there it was in large letters. It's now been changed, but they have actually been advertising later than their premises license. So we believe that the present licensing hours are very generous for a basically residential shopping community, and that 1 o'clock is generous, and we can see no compelling reason why the hours should be extended. Thank you.
No, thank you. Josh, any further questions to applicants? Subcommittee, any legal? No, Ali, okay, thank you very much. I guess we can go on to the summing up. Do you want some clarification? Sorry, yes.
Sorry, just for
Yes.
clarification. Yes, we did have a sign that said 2 a.m. in the month of December and the end of November when we had our temporary offence notices. But if you look now, it was changed immediately. So just for clarification, we were not saying that we were open later than we were. And just a footnote, when I bought the bar from Matthew Davis, he had a 12 o'clock and a 1 a.m. and I changed from the 12 o'clock to 1 a.m.
It's just surprising that
through the
when this
chair,
application comes in, you're actually advertising
Please,
different
okay,
hours.
thank you. Please, thank you very much. Okay, we are now going to sum up. And if I just remind people to reiterate their key points very briefly, please, if you can do that. So I hand over to the applicant, please.
Very briefly, no objections from any of the authorities. Agreed conditions with police and they're happy. I'm offering extra conditions tonight to keep doors and windows closed at all times because we've installed the aircon at huge cost. Happy to offer a dispersal policy condition as well if you want it. I do place some significant emphasis on new para 1.18 of the guidance, which requires you to have consideration for promoting growth and delivering economic benefits on the basis of this being a loss-making business at the moment, which doesn't at the moment have any adverse impact on the local community.
Any questions? Any questions? Any summing up? Is there anything else additionally you want to say? I guess I suppose you could do just with the additional condition, just to clarify about the doors and window.
Sure. So in summing up, I'd just like to, from licensing authority point of view, the applicant's point of view about the section 1.18 in the statutory guidance is absolutely correct. That was added February.
Yes, no,
Yeah, very recently. And that is that the authority must consider the need to promote growth and deliver economic benefits. That is in the guidance that it should be high on the consideration. In terms of what's been proposed now, it sounds like the 2 a.m. is only Monday to Saturday, leaving Sunday until 1 a.m. And there were two other conditions potentially offered for your consideration as well. One of which was keeping windows and doors closed except for ingress and egress. I would say for the committee's point of view, whether or not if you're trying to stop people noise as it stands, that's fine. If you're trying to stop noise from music, I would amend that to mention when regulated entertainment is taking place. It depends on what you're trying to control with that condition. And also a dispersal policy has been mentioned. However, I think that's probably could be baked into the already agreed that there will be written policies that would be checked by Thames Valley Police, other responsible authorities and ourselves anyway. If you wanted to minute it, that's fine. We'll ensure there's a line about dispersal in the written policies. But just saying that although it's been proposed, I think maybe has already been mostly proposed in the agreed conditions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. And I know you've already spoken, but very quickly, did you just want to sum up yourself? Very briefly?
I think I've said it all, that we think it's inappropriate for a residential area to be later than 1 o'clock.
Thank you very much. May I ask you now to please leave the room while we deliberate and come up with a decision? Thank you very much and welcome back. We, as a subcommittee, have made a decision. There is no discussion about this. I will read that out and then I will hand over to legal advisor who will give explain the rights of appeal. So we, as the subcommittee, granting the licence with a verbally modified application as delivered by the applicant, and also noting that you are taking Sundays out. So the licence has been granted. I may just sort of add and just note, and not within the condition as well, but I would morally sort of expect you being that good neighbour and maybe sometimes liaison with residents associations should any, hopefully not any other issues occur, being that good neighbour in the community. Okay, I hand over to Ali to give the
Well, you do have a
legal
right
rights of appeal.
You do have a right to appeal. I'm sure you know them, but I mean, it's gone quite favourably in your favour. So it's just to reiterate that they're granting what you verbally applied for. So there is the omission of the Sunday. Okay, that's right, as amended. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Oh,
I just wanted to
sorry.
check with the verbally agreed, was that including the verbally agreed conditions that added or just the hours that were changed? Not the conditions, just
No.
the hours.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
That's all it is.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody. These meetings